Hello, Matthew Williams here. Quick video to say, well, before I say it, I know what you're thinking. Look at him, he's fucking still wearing that orange t-shirt. So anyway, right, before we do anything else, yes, I do actually wear other clothes from time to time, so fuck you. And no, I don't iron them either, so fuck you for that. If you still have any hate, leave it in the comments. Right, this is a Corona update. And yes, it's cocaine. So yeah, it's been basically brought to my attention that there are a load of countries out there that just aren't bothering to lock down. Sweden, the Netherlands, well, they just don't fucking, they just don't care. They're just not interested. They're just like, we're gonna get it, whatever, deal with it, yeah. And so what does this mean about the UK? Well, I think, if we're being told now by our so-called scientific advisor, even though nobody has really got a fucking clue about this virus at all and how long it's going to last. And I mean, first we were told it's going to have a 14-day period. Now we're told that people are dying that caught it a month ago. Yeah, really. Yeah. So they don't know how long the incubation period is. They don't know how long we're going to have to stay indoors. They don't know how effective this is going to be. They just don't know. That's what we do know, is they don't know. That is what we know. They don't know. Yeah. So stay in your house. It was going to be 14 days. Then they're saying it's more like a month. Then they say it's more like 2 months. Yesterday I read it's going to be more like 6 months. Yeah. Chief Scientific Advisor. Well, do you know what, right? Who's going to pay for this? Well, it's okay. The government's going to be paying for it, isn't it? It's like you're out work, and it's just like, lock you down, police fucking red shirts, like Nazi fucking red shirts going around the street, and private security, fucking your next door neighbour's going to be wanting to fucking grass you up. It's going to be like fucking Nazi Germany, isn't it? It's going to be like Nazi fucking Germany, right? And instead of it being like, let's go after the Jews, it's going to be, let's go after everyone in society, right? Everybody's going to be a Jew, yeah, in society, right? That's what we're dealing with here, right? So, and by the way, before you say like, oh, Matt's anti-Jew, no, I'm trying to make a parallel to a historical thing. Fuck off, you Asperger's fucking knob ends. If you don't get it, if you don't understand it, if you don't understand how the English language works, turn off now, because this video is not for you. Right, so basically the problem's going to be, right, everyone's kept in their houses, everyone's paid by the government at some punitive stupid rate. What does this mean? Right, everybody's going to be dipping into their own savings. Nobody's going to be able to pay their rent. Nobody's going to be able to pay their mortgages. Right, so everyone's going to default. The banks will own your house, so you're not going to have any equity. Right, your landlords are going to be wanting to kick you out, yeah. So which they might make illegal, but the landlords, what's going to happen there is going to put the renters against the landlords, right? Then what's going to happen? All the money's going to drain out of society, right? And then the government are going to keep paying, right? Will there be a shortage on food? Will there be riots? Will there be arms from the military and army pointed at the public over food? Yeah. And then at the end of it, right, if they ever release the quarantine, yeah, the lockdown, which is a quarantine, if they ever release it, who's going to pay for all this? Who's going to pay for all this? You are. Because the government is going to want to repay the money that they borrowed from the banks. Yeah? So they're going to want to repay that money. So who's going to pay for it? Are you going to be prepared to pay 50% tax? 75% tax? Yeah? Maybe only for a couple of years just to make up the money? What about 90% tax? Yeah? What about interest rates on the banks going up to 70%? Yeah? In order to sort this situation out. Are you going to be happy with that? Do you think there's not going to be riots in the streets? Just saying, yeah? Because ultimately, what's all this about? What is all this about? And is there a conspiracy behind it? Well, one could wonder, right, because The Chinese are kind of accusing the Americans of they're the ones that brought this to our country. It wasn't us, it was them. Well, we all pretty much think and know that it originated in China, but does that mean it's some sort of false flag, i.e. the Americans planted it in China, like the Chinese are saying? Well, it's not impossible, I suppose, considering America really does want to fuck up China and the fact that it's got a global, global noose hold, yeah, stranglehold over the rest of the planet in terms of, it's got a mass population, it's got a large amount of money, makes most of the world's goods, yeah, and it's like, so maybe some twisted sick fuck wanted to spread it out to China to make them fucking reap the wrath of the rest of the world for the way it behaves. And China doesn't care because it'll just carry on as normal, business as usual. China won't give a fuck, yeah? So it's like, but maybe that's the intention, is to kind of make the whole world hate China. Well, guess what? I think we fucking hate them anyway. We might buy goods off them, but we don't fucking like them. And guess what? They don't fucking like us either, yeah? Because talk about a xenophobic society, right? Now, I'm not being racist when I say this because, like, I go and buy Chinese food. I have friends who come from China, yeah, and it's like, I treat them with respect. But they don't treat us with respect when we go to China. We're treated as outsiders. We're treated as scum. So there's the racism, yeah? And now the Chinese government are telling all their people, it was the Americans who brought it in. They don't want Americans, and they don't want British. They don't want they don't want anyone in that country anymore, right? Because they're being given a hard time because their government has told them that it's those people have killed our country and they're fucking us up with their, shit like that, which is bollocks, yeah? But internally, they're trying to make the Chinese hate all other countries. So it's not a country that you can really go. You're not allowed to become a citizen. Well, Chinese people come to UK, become citizens. Chinese people come to the America and become citizens. And we all respect them and treat them with, as much respect as we possibly can. They can buy land, they can buy property, they can do things, they have a legal status, yeah, not a problem. You move to China, you are not allowed to become a Chinese citizen. You are not allowed to own land. You are not allowed to own property, yeah? You have to ask permission and somebody else has to do the deal for you. You're not allowed to. You are not allowed to have full status as a Chinese citizen. And you will not be treated fairly in the law. Everything you do, you'll be to blame for, right? And the Chinese people were never to blame because if you crash a car, the Chinese person wasn't to blame, right? If you do anything, the Chinese person wasn't to blame. You're to blame because you're the foreigner, right? Completely fucked up society, right? They don't believe in copyright. They don't believe in intellectual property. They will copy every single fucking thing they can, right? And then the rest of the world goes, oh, but we like that because it means we can get stuff cheap, yeah? But we've given all our jobs up because of this fucking bullshit. They'll do things for pennies in the pound, yeah? In order to fuck up the rest of the world's economy. And we go, yeah, they're all right. No, they're not all right. China's fucked up. And I don't like China. Yeah? I don't like China. Don't fucking like it, yeah? So anyway, what is it? Did China originate the virus? Probably, yeah. But now we have all this xenophobia and fucking hatred and race hatred coming from fucking China towards the rest of the world, yeah. So that's a pretty fucked up situation. Anyway, back to home soil. We've now got a situation whereby we are going to self-implode and we are going to lose all our money, all our savings and everything, right? And this applies to most countries because eventually, the dealing with this, the amount it's going to cost to deal with this, if they deal with it in the way that the UK's dealt with it, means that everyone everywhere is going to lose all their money, all their fucking property, everything you have, because you aren't going to be able to afford to repay what this is going to cost. And isn't that funny? Because people have been saying for years, it's like, oh, it's the environment. The environment is going to be the end of the world. The environment, you're going to, oh, yeah, right. And then something like this comes along, and this is like the environment to a factor of 9, yeah? This is environment, to the power of 9, yeah? This is like, forget about the environment, right? This comes along, and it's like, right, you're all fucked now. You're all fucked. And wouldn't that be a nice little New World Order agenda type thing to bring into being? Because how are you going to get control of the whole world population? Take away their food. And then they have to go and get ration cards. And they have to be on a barcode or something to prove who they are to get their rations, so that the rations can't be shared around, yeah? Tracking people via their mobile phones. So you have to have your mobile phone on you, and you have to answer questions as to where you are, and then they can track you whether or not you've moved out of your house. So now you will be locked down and kept in your house, which is a New World Order agenda, which has been on the cards for a while. How do we make the whole planet stop working, right, and get them onto a non-cash based system so we can control them and we know where they are and what they're doing? So if they do anything that we don't like, we can electronically remove them from society, yeah? Well, I think we're having a trial run right now. Yeah, this is a trial run. Yeah, and this may not end. This trial run may never end. Yes, because I think those that want to rule us realize that this is a very good way to take all the power away from the people. Softly, softly get them used to the idea of being under martial law and under control, right? And they got no money anymore. And money's no good anymore. So you can't fill up your car with money. You've got to have electronic money. Yeah, you can't use cash. It's got to be when the government says you can travel, where the government says you can travel, how far can you travel, food, how much food are you eating? Are you eating too much? Yeah, property. Well, you can't have property. You can't own things. No. It all has to be doled out by the government now because of the, the reparations for what's just gone on. Really, I think we're very close to seeing a German fascist control over the planet type situation. Fascist control over the entire planet if we're not careful. And when they say, oh, this could last 6 months, it could be a year, could be 2 years, really, could be 10 years. How about forever? When are they going to come on the news with that one? Yeah, actually, yeah, George Orwell situation is now here. You're locked down in your houses. Watch the television. No more newspapers. No more print, because we don't want you getting access to information. It's just through the computer, and we can control what you can see, and we can delete the things we don't want you seeing. Yeah. They could do that, It's like they could do that. So I'm just giving you a dystopian possibility, a theory on what may be going on. But I know one thing for certain, right? Push too much with this quarantine, and people are going to get pissed off. And there's going to come a point where people are just going to go, do you know what? Fuck your quarantine, right? And fuck your bullshit, yeah? We don't need it. We don't need it. Yeah, some people are going to die tough. Yeah. So that's going to become a scenario at some point down the line. Yeah. But they're going to try to drain people's resources as much as they can through this. They're going to drain your morale. They're going to drain your money. They're going to drain the cash flow. They're going to try and deplete as much money out of your lives as they can. So it becomes an us and them, and then what's going to happen? That's not going to end very well. So here's a fucking dour, dystopian, theoretical view of what might be taking place, and in a way that makes the environmental problems of the world seem like a fucking speck in the ocean. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope it doesn't happen, but thanks very much for watching.